Open Public Meetings Law, I wish to state that on July the 9th, 2021, the notice of this meeting of the Upper Township Committee was posted on the official Township Bulletin Board, the Upper Township website, and the Town Hall foyer, mailed to the Cape May County Gazette, the Atlantic City Press, the Ocean City Sentinel Ledger, the Herald Times, and filed with the Township Clerk. Tonight's meeting is being video recorded up until the closed session portion of this meeting and will be available on the Upper Township website. I hereby direct that this announcement made a part of the minutes of this meeting. I'm going to ask all to rise for the salute to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Barbara, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Coggins?
Here.
Mr. Corson?
Present.
Ms. Hayes? Here. Mayor Palumbo?
Here.
All members are present.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes from June 28, 2021, both regular and closed session minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second. Is there any corrections, deletions, omissions that anyone's aware of? Okay, hearing none. Would you call the roll?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. All in favor?
All right, let's kind of go through some of these reports. Scott, what do you have us for this evening?
Good evening, Mayor and committee members. Just first and foremost, as we all know, July 4th is another July 4th is coming on. And I just want to acknowledge all the Upper Township management, personnel, and outside agencies and individuals that participated this year. They did an excellent job from the Beasley's Point Beach and all the preparation that our Public Works team put together, our lifeguards and everything in that operation, and all the pre-planning that we did with the clerk's office and all the other personnel preparing the weeks preceding 4th of July. Again, I just think it was an unbelievable effort, and we probably far exceeded the amount of people. I know from Public Works acknowledgement of this, the number of parked cars that we had this year is more than we've ever had in the past. And we did park every one of our spaces in all of our lots at this field. So I will say we only had 3 events of noteworthy. We had 2 missing children, and they were immediately brought back to their parents, and 1 missing credit card, and that was turned back over to the person who lost it. So other than that, it was an uneventful evening, but a very busy evening. So again, I wanted to thank everybody.
Great. Nice job, everyone. I know Kim's going to have a report too. So.
And the only other thing I have tonight is a request from our EMS division. One of our EMTs, John Britton, would like permission to attend the National Fire Academy. We don't have an exact date, but it's possibly in April of 2022. He'd like to take management of emergency medical services courses. It's a 10-day campus class. It is out of state, but it does directly tie into his position. And there is, like I said, no cost for the course itself, no cost for lodging, and the only thing he's requesting is the time to go down and attend this class, the 10-day campus.
I'd like to make that in the form of a motion. Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
And that is all I have. We do have some personnel issues that we'll discuss later in closed session.
Okay. Barbara.
Nothing to report at this time, sir, but I would like to say the 4th of July event was a very enjoyable event, and thank you to you also, Scott.
Great. Excellent.
Nothing
Daniel.
at this time.
Moving right along. Paul.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind committee and let the public know that I did send out notices for on Saturday, July 24th at 9 a.m. at the Strathmere Fire Hall. We're going to hold a flood insurance informational promotional meeting. There are some big changes coming up in the flood rating program. They're calling it risk rating 2.0, so that everybody's flood insurance rating, how they rate properties is going to change, so we'll be able to have some information on that, as well as just generally discussing how people can, understand their declaration page and make sure that it's being inputted properly with your elevation certificate. So we'll have insurance agents on hand and myself to kind of go over all that information, and it should be a good event. I've already had some questions from some residents about it, but just wanted to remind the public of that upcoming informational meeting we'll be hosting.
And I'm sure you're going to post it on the website and
Yes.
Facebook and all
Yep.
that. Great.
That's all I had.
All right. Barbara.
I have nothing this evening, sir.
All right. Maybe it was a quiet 2 weeks. I don't know. Committeeman Coggins.
I just want to congratulate and recognize Mrs. Ludi for the fact that we've just gone through a zero finding audit, which is a tremendous asset to the township.
That's a credit to all of our departments. They all do what they need to do, and sometimes I get on their back about it, but they understand, and it's an effort of all the departments.
Well, congratulations to all on a job well done.
Yep. Anything else?
Nothing else.
All right. Committeewoman Hayes.
So obviously I'm going to talk about 4th of July, right?
I want to know the $25,000 question. Did you get dunked?
I did not.
Oh.
Did not.
Okay.
So my knight in shining armor, my 12-year-old son stepped up and jumped in the dunk tank. And I think he enjoyed it a lot more than I would have.
Well, I think that was a good idea because I kind of came out of it with a bad knee after the one time. So.
I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get out of it. It was really where the first dunk I was going to be stuck. So I'm going to try and go through just the events of the day so that I make sure I thank everybody. The first event that we had at Beasley's Point, thank you to Public Works Department for making sure that facility looked great. The beach was beautiful. RC sailing, that was just an awesome event, and I can't wait to have them back to do something a little bigger. I know, Rich, you had a chance to check it out.
Pretty cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Strathmere Parade was phenomenal. I know, some of us got to take part in that, so kudos to the Strathmere Fire Company and Karen Mitchell for organizing that. That was the first time that I had an opportunity to participate in that. It was just a lot of fun, so thank you to them. And then the big event at Amanda's Field. So huge thank you to our Public Works Department for all of their efforts leading up to that day. The facility looked amazing. Amanda's Field was, just absolutely in tip-top shape. It looked great. Larry Cole, our recreation coordinator, for all of his efforts in getting vendors there and keeping everybody coordinated and making sure they had all the necessary paperwork, and big thank you to him. Specifically in our Public Works Department, I want to thank Craig Reeves, Mike Jones, Nick Mason, Dave Pinella, and Barbara Grun for giving up their time that day to be at the field and really help us make sure that everybody had a good time and that it went off so smoothly. Thank you to our EMS, our fire companies, the state police, Katie National, and to Scott for coordinating with them. Like you said, there was no incidents minus the 2 lost children, and they were returned pretty quickly. And I do want to recognize, I did witness one of those small children, and just the compassion that everybody that works for our township had for those kids, our EMTs, our Public Works Department. It really was something to see. It made me very proud of everyone and to be part of that. I've had great feedback from the vendors. Our food vendors, had sold out of food, so they're thrilled. They can't wait to come back. So thank you all again, and on to Fall Fest.
So we want to thank you for all the time and effort you put into it as well, Kim.
My pleasure.
It's not an easy task to put those things together and work with everybody that has to be involved. So congratulations, a lot of success, and I've got nothing but positive on the fireworks display too. They say as good as it's been in a long time. So everybody's very happy.
Very good. And the band actually played an extra half hour longer and played through the fireworks. So thank you to Cape May Entertainment also.
All right, good job, Deputy Mayor Barr.
I have nothing to report, but Kim, good job on the whole 4th of July program, and echo the same congratulations to everybody for a great holiday weekend that was safe and enjoyable to everyone, and looking forward to next year already.
There you go.
That's all I have.
Committeeman Curtis Corson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to echo what Ed and Kim said. The 4th of July festivities were phenomenal. I was at the parade, obviously, and It was a good time, it was had by all. Couple things, Longport Women's Race, we had, that was, the lifeguard race was July 6th. We did have Eve Chitterello and Brooke. Chirello, sorry about that. And Brooke Hanley placed 4th in the doubles. Lindsay Robbins placed 3rd in the paddle. Grace Steele, Casey McLeese, and Mackenzie Blake, and Eve Chirello placed 4th in the surf dash. It was a phenomenal event. It was the first time I've ever been at the lifeguard races, and we have some great athletes. Also at the Cape May County Championship, which was Friday night, I think, we had Ryan Fisher and Kyle Rudemaker placed 4th in the doubles. And they are at an event tonight, so. Our lifeguards
They're on a good boat.
Yes.
Oh, boy, here we go.
Our lifeguards are.
3-hour tour on that boat.
Our lifeguards are representing us well, and
It's a high honor.
It's kind of amazing, the athleticism these kids have. July 20th, we are hosting at the Back Bay by the Duville there, our MS row around the one island, I forget the name of the island.
The Bay Race.
Yeah, the Bay Race, and
MS Bay
benefits
Race.
MS. It starts at 6 p.m., so it should be, I believe there was 25 to 30 boats in it.
Yeah, and it's not just the guards, the squads from Cape May County, Atlantic County comes, and they even come sometimes as far as LBI.
So it should be a good event, and look forward to it. That's all I have to say.
Great. I only
Sorry
have,
about what you're doing.
I only have one thing. I attended the Habitat for Humanity home dedication last Friday, or this past Friday. Was well attended by a lot of different folks. Got to meet Kim and Stadiano, who and her 2 daughters moved into the house officially. And this is the house that was moved from Avalon, and they redid it all. And I even had a chance to meet the new occupants that will be taking over the house that's being built next door. And they anticipate that being done sometime in September or maybe October. But it's a single mom with a son. The one that was dedicated on Friday is a single mom with 2 daughters. So it really is a nice thing to attend. Upper obviously has played a big role in facilitating the lots. I made it a point to say that, even though the committee voted for it, it really is Upper Township residents that own the property. I mean, it is, the whole, residents. And so, we really played a very vital part in that Habitat for Humanities. And it's amazing how many people are involved. Father Pete gave the blessing of the house, and there was a lot of good things that happened. I look forward to the next one, and like I said, should be in September, October, and we'll make sure Barbara keeps everybody. It's nice to meet the people that are involved and all the volunteers. Like literally 60, 70 people worked on that house, so it's pretty neat. So that's all I have. Barbara, you want to move on with the resolutions?
Sure. Item number 1, honoring Daniel Schuler on his retirement from the Township of Upper.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 2, appointing Elizabeth Oakes as a full-time employee to the Upper Township Zoning Office.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 3, resolution and certification with respect to the 2020 annual audit and in compliance with the local finance board of the state of New Jersey.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 4, accepting the donation of a beach wheelchair from Bruckner Chase to the Township of Upper.
Move the resolution?
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried. 5, authorizing the Township of Upper to enter into a contract with Cape Physicians Associates to provide pre-employment physical examinations.
Motion to authorize.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 6, authorizing a refund to Andre Rivera of Second Capital Running LLC for facility use at Amanda's Field in Upper Township due to the cancellation of the Gateway Quarter Marathon.
Motion to authorize.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 7, authorizing payments from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund of Upper Township.
Motion to authorize.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. 8, authorizing the purchase of a portable light tower with funds from the 2020 Capital Improvement Bond Ordinance in the amount of $3,266.10.
Motion to authorize.
Second?
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried. Item number 9, under ordinances, introduction and first reading of ordinance number 13, 2021, an ordinance amending revised general ordinance, chapter 19, subdivision, site plan and land use administration, and chapter 20, zoning of the code of Upper Township. And if we move forward with this, if we could have the public hearing on August 9th, that would work.
Move we introduce ordinance number 9, or ordinance number 13 of 2021 with the public hearing August 9th.
All the time.
Second?
And Paul, the map that you sent today goes along with it?
Yeah, that was just kind of a blow up of that area. The map that I emailed you did have a typo on the actual lot and block designations, but we corrected that for the actual notices. The arrow pointed to the proper location and
That's for those homes that are
it's
on
those
the-
3 homes on South Bayview Drive, that's kind of south of Taylor Avenue in Strathmere. And it's just moving them from they're currently in the conservation zone and moving them into the resort residential zone, just like the other developed houses in Strathmere.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion's carried, all in favor. Item number 10, under new business, Ron O'Hara requests to place a temporary trailer at 6 Sheila Avenue in Seaville during the reconstruction of his home.
I'd like to make a motion, we grant approval.
All right, here's what's required there. We do that by formal resolution, so the motion would be to proceed pursuant to our ordinance and the recommendations of the zoning board. It'll come back to you with those recommendations, so you don't have to take them. They'll be in the formal resolution. The ordinance allows for a specific period of time not to exceed 1 year. I'm assuming you're going to want it the 1 year on there, not to exceed. They can apply for a second year if they
Right.
want.
Yes.
My understanding is that there was a fire at the property and they may want the trailer there to
Correct.
live
And
in
we've,
quarters
and
while
we've,
the
and
house is
we've had
built.
precedent, we've done this in the past.
We've done that 3 or 4 times over the last several years when this kind of unfortunate occurrence happens. So they're still, I've talked to Mr. O'Hara, he's still trying to weigh his options, but they actually have a trailer, they own one. So they're having trouble finding some other temporary housing in the township. So they're feeling that that's going to be their option that they try to do while they reconstruct their home.
Yeah, and he had some emails that I had with him back and forth. I mean, he had indicated that, although the insurance company is paying for temporary housing, it's very difficult to be staying in a hotel room or whatever he's staying at this point. So, I think having the comfort of being around the home as it's being, redeveloped or, or rebuilt, I guess is a better word, that it makes sense to be able to allow them to do that, so.
So what I would suggest is that the motion be to move forward with a formal resolution. You may want to include in that you would direct code enforcement to be lenient if they have to place a trailer there before the actual formal resolution, so that even though it might be in violation technically, given the circumstances, you wouldn't seek enforcement until the resolution is adopted.
So Curtis, you want to amend your?
That's my motion.
Good framing, Curtis.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried with all in favor. Item number 11, request for a street light on Redwood Avenue.
Paul?
Yes, I had an email request to look at Redwood Avenue, and that's actually the street that the two Habitat for Humanity homes are on. There are no streetlights in that little loop set of streets, so definitely would warrant at least one out at Redwood, and I think it's Lilac is that intersecting street right there. In order, that's the easiest one to install because there is a utility pole on that corner. To do them around the rest of the block, I'm going to say, would take some probably significant funds to put in additional light poles or underground lighting. So I would suggest that they asked for one on Redwood. I would recommend we put one at that intersection where there's a utility pole and start there. That cost should be, I'll say, somewhat minimal, probably in the $2,000 to $2,500 range to have that street light installed. Definitely warranted being at an intersection.
That's usually what our cost is, right?
That's in that general range, yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we proceed with it.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? Just call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to pay the bills?
I hereby move that all claims submitted for payment at this meeting be approved and then incorporated into the full minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Carried.
So we have a number of reports from our municipal departments: Animal Control, Clerk's Office, Construction Code, Finance Office, Municipal Court, MUA Report, Public Works, and Tax Collector. All of these reports would be available upon request at the Clerk's Office tomorrow, but at this time I'll make a motion to accept these reports.
Second.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Coggins?
Yes.
Mr. Corson?
Yes.
Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mayor Palumbo?
Yes.
Motion is carried.
So before I open up to the public, I also, for public comment, I also want to echo Kim's words with the Beasley Point Beach. Besides being cleaned up, it really, the shed's in place now. I've been making it a daily trip, and nice area to ride my bike down to and back. And it's amazing, the difference of, what has come out of this construction and everything. And I guess the only question I have, because one of the boat ramp attendants asked me, there was stuff in the old shed that was there. There were chairs and things like that. Do we know where they are? If we don't, then we'll probably need to get a couple chairs or something for the boat ramp attendants, because they're sitting on the railings right now. So it's, okay, so to make a long story short, it sounds like most of the stuff that was in there is not there now, or is not available.
A lot of the contents were put in the community center in the back garage, so I'll see what we can.
Okay, but we need to get some couple chairs down there for the,
Yeah, we just said it Friday, late Friday afternoon, by the time we got done, we just didn't have time.
Yeah.
So I'll get back.
No, yeah, and I don't know, because I looked in the shed, and I saw the refrigerator was hooked up, and I don't know what the air conditioner is there. He asked me, I said, we're asking the wrong person.
That's portable.
So it's just inside, or is it, no?
Stand it out the back wall,
Okay,
and that thing will freeze in a minute.
yeah, I'm sure. It will. I mean, it wasn't that hot on Sunday. I guess it was, yeah, yesterday. No, it was Saturday. I was talking. So, okay, that's fine.
That's not the request for the sectional couch that was down there at one time.
No. No sectional couches, no recliners, nothing like that.
Recliner, sectional couch.
Just something to sit on
Coffee
outside.
table, the whole nine yards.
All right. I know you guys will take care of that, but thank you. What a tremendous, improvement it
Yeah, it
is
looks
down there.
good.
Really looks great.
That was really good.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone from the public that would like to address the Township Committee, now's the time to do so. Please come up to the podium, state your name and your address and your reason for addressing the Township Committee.
My name is David Rosso. I live at 8 Deerfield Trail. The reason I'm here is to ask you what the rule or the law is about dislodging firearms in a residential neighborhood and bringing 10 or 12 of your friends over, and it sounds like a war zone.
And I'm sorry, where did you say that you?
8 Deerfield Trail, down the road here, Huntfield Estates. I've been there 23 years. Never had this. I went through the hunters, but this, I did call the state, my wife called the state police. This is the third time. I thanked the state police for coming, but they were handcuffed. They said, he's within his law.
We have no municipal ordinances on it. It's covered by state law.
So, it's a residential neighborhood, and I get the idea. He's got acreage behind his house because he goes back, and you're supposed to have 375 feet between homes. But there's little children in this neighborhood. How do I know one of these guys doesn't misfire or the kid runs away? I don't have children. I'm sure you all had children. They get angry at you, they run away, they run in the woods. How do you know these guys aren't going to come around and start shooting and this kid comes out of the woods and gets shot? And I have dogs, expensive dogs. If my dog gets loose, I'm going to chase the dog. What if I run across and they're shooting and I get shot and my dog gets shot? You know, where's my rights? And I come home, I've worked 15 hours a day and I got to listen to 3 hours of semi-automatic guns going off and handguns going off. It sounds like Vietnam. All I'm asking is, is there anything that can be done to stop this, to halt it?
Is there anything like with respect to a noise ordinance or anything?
It depends upon the historic nature of the use. If it was historically used, our ordinance is a nuisance ordinance. If it's new and it's different, or if expanded, you could file a complaint, a noise ordinance complaint with the municipal court, but you would have to prove that it was not something that historically was approved and allowed. So I don't know if it's new, I don't know if it's expanded, you know.
I don't know. I mean, I know they have a berm there, but
So it's on their property?
it's on his property, behind his house.
Did you talk to him
He
at all?
backs up to the McNamara Game Preserve. And I've asked around, and I'm not gonna say what veterinarians I've talked to, but shells that are left, when you shoot the gun, the bullet goes out, there is lead in those in that pellet. If these animals come out of the game preserve and eat that, they can get sick or choke or die on it. So I don't know where these rules bend. I'm just looking out for little kids in my neighborhood. There's like 5 or 6 of them, and they're outside playing all the time.
Did you talk to your neighbor at all about it?
Yeah, that's like talking to that wall.
Did you talk to your neighbor about it?
Yeah, that's what you just
Like
said.
I said, it's like talking to that wall.
If a noise ordinance complaint is filed, it would probably be sent to mediation. We have had instances in the past, not with gunshots, but with other noise between neighbors and neighborhood disputes, that the court system has apparently resolved them because the dispute is not ongoing. I can't promise you that would happen, but that's part of the process if a noise complaint is filed.
Okay.
The fact is that they're shooting into a berm, earthen berm.
I'm sorry, it hurts.
They're shooting into an earthen berm. And most ranges have a lead recovery system of some sort. Obviously, the homeowner shooting into an earthen berm does not have a lead recovery system. And possibly the only recourse is through DEP.
Could be a DUP issue if there's lead there, yes.
I mean, the commercial ranges that shoot into earthen berms bring in like a sand wash, and they wash, the lead's heavier, it goes out, separates. And they recover the lead and do the responsible thing. So the DEP might be the recourse.
So when you contacted the state police, you know, because obviously, if you have proper permits and stuff, you're allowed to, you know, possess guns, but, so what was their response again?
And when my wife called, I was at work, but
Okay.
she said when they showed up, she came outside, and they said, there's nothing we can do, he's within his rights.
Okay.
And that's sort of like, left me out, where's my rights?
Well, under fish and game rules, you're not allowed to hunt or discharge a weapon within 450 feet of a house for hunting.
Right.
Well, I don't know what,
Yeah, this is target practice.
yeah, I don't know what the lieutenant here, he might know a little.
I'd have to brush up on it.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't call on you, but.
I think I'd have to, you know, probably somewhere around 300 feet, which I understand does not seem like very much, honestly.
I get you. I mean, you know, I'm just saying it's residential, and there's a house and here's a house. You know, and the one lady's house is right up against this guy's driveway, and he's maybe 30 feet back. I don't care. I know a bullet can ricochet. I'm not saying, you know, you can't bear arms, but this is like dumb. You have a shooting range down the road. I mean, something should be done that said, you can go to a shooting range if you don't, you know, this is not the wild, wild west.
Scott, can you work with the lieutenant to see if there's anything, you know, in the meantime? And I think pursuing maybe what Curtis said, we'll see what U.S., you know, Fish and Wildlife or whatever have to.
And the New Jersey.
Yeah, for recovery. Obviously, it's kind of a touchy subject because there's a lot going on, you know, with the rights to bear arms and everything else.
Right.
Let's see what we can work out. I mean, I can't promise anything because I don't really know all the rules myself, so.
I
but we'll
appreciate
see.
it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Hi, my name is Cindy Glovsky at 3 Evergreen Drive, different than Chirello, but that is the way to say it. So I'm here for two reasons. It's the same issue, and I see Paul's name. I called you today about the trees. That's me. I was wondering if there was a way to let everybody in the township know about this invasive tree that's growing up and down Route 9. I have some information on it. It's called the Ailanthus altissima. And sadly, I know way too much about this tree because they're growing on my property too, because my neighbor is hosting at least 5 of these trees. And I have talked to him. I've been asking him to cut these trees down and remove these trees for 5 years, and he refuses. Before Shelley retired, she came out to my property a year ago, saw what was happening, agreed, and looked up the ordinance, and it is against the ordinance that's against invasive trees and species like bamboo. And then when I contacted her again, she said that this neighbor refuses to remove the trees, but I kept going with it, and she said that I had to have somebody to identify the trees. So I contacted Rutgers Cooperative. I had the experts come out, identify the trees on his property, which are right next to my property, as this tree of heaven, or I'm not even sure how to say it, Ailanthus altissima. And she retired, gave the information to Paul. They were both very nice. I spoke to Paul today, and he kept me updated on what's going on. And basically, the seeds and the roots from the tree are growing underground. I found them in my crawl space of my house. They're right on the edge of my property. I spend hours and hours and hours every week with my little, you know, claw thing, and I have to dig them up by the roots. They're in my flower beds. They're everywhere. If I didn't pull them, my property would also have hundreds of these trees. He's got thousands of the weeds coming up because I'm like a madwoman. I'm obsessed. I see it all the time. There is, on the corner of Route 50 and Route 9 by the Acme, there's a billboard there in a bush, and these trees are now taking over that billboard. They're all underneath. So I was wondering if maybe there was a way to let everybody in the township know. Also, from what I've read, they are being eliminated in the state of New Jersey. They are a host to the spotted lanternfly. And this is all new to me because this isn't I'm a therapist, this isn't my gig, but now I'm very concerned. And as I drive up and down Route 9, I see there's a lot of these trees now growing, and you know, I have some information that I can share, and I had emailed it to Shelley, who forwarded it to Paul. And then the other thing is, when I spoke to Paul today, the person who's hosting the weed trees is claiming that he's gonna chop down one that's in the front, but he's waiting for Atlantic City Electric to trim the branches that are entangled in the electric wires. Those branches have been tangled in my electric wires for over 5 years, probably closer to 10 years, because I have called Atlantic City Electric at least 5 times to come and trim them, and I've lost power at least 2 times during a storm with young children in the house and no heat. And he saw that, and he still refuses to do anything about these trees. So it's not cosmetic. If it was cosmetic, I would trim it myself. But there's a specific way to remove them. They have to be cut within 5 to 15 minutes. A pesticide has to go in to make sure they don't continue to grow and come underneath. So that's my one request. I don't know if there's, like, if you can send a letter, you're welcome to use this, because everybody in the, does anybody see these? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
Actually, I Googled it while you were talking because I didn't know what it was.
They're terrible.
And I actually have seen them. I had them on my property for a while, and I actually eliminated them. But
Well, I can't until he takes them. His are full blown. They're taller than this, and they're wiry, and they're coming on to my thing. And then they drop seeds. I have a pool that I built 5 years ago. The seeds drop in my pool, and then it takes me a lot of extra time. And I understand there's leaves, and that's not the issue. And then, you know, they could clog my filter, so I have to keep doing that. Now, I have a sample of a leaf, because they are such junk trees. The leaves are already falling because it's not a real tree. And he's got 5 of them that are hanging over into my yard. So now I have to skim my pool because of the leaves that are prematurely falling. So in my opinion, it's not good enough that he's waiting for Atlantic City Electric to trim those things. He needs to make a plan, because and I have nothing against him, this person. I've tried talking to him, and I have the same wall as you do. You know, and this person's gotten nasty with me. He's called me names. I'm not out to get him. I'm just out to protect my property, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when they're going to strangle my septic tank. They're going to mess my pool plumbing, because I already told you they're growing underneath my house into my crawl space. So it's no joke. And I was hoping that the other residents of the township could be made aware, because there's other communities in North Carolina and Virginia and Pennsylvania that had this problem, and then they put the word out. Now everybody in the community is vigilant about getting rid of these, not to mention the spotted lanternfly that we surely don't want here, because they love those trees, and I don't want them anywhere near my house. So that's that. It's been a frustrating 5 years, and it's just getting worse and worse. Every year it's worse.
Yeah, just to remind the committee, we do have an ordinance for invasive plant species.
Right.
I did have at least one conversation with Shelley, and I walked through before she retired what was required. You're not allowed to plant them now. It's against the township ordinance. You can find if you plant an invasive species.
Yeah, I don't think anybody plants them.
There's a definition in there of it. Well, some people do. They plant bamboo. And
Oh, yeah.
that's an invasive species. If you had it before the ordinance was adopted, which was, I'm guessing, within the last 10 years, you're allowed to keep it, but you must maintain it on your property. If it doesn't stay on your property and travels to another property, that is a basis for violation. However, the code enforcement officer has to be able to go out and determine that it originated on your neighbor's property. If the code enforcement officer can't determine that, it can't be a violation under the ordinance. That doesn't mean you don't have the right under other law, common law, and law between neighbors to seek your own legal action to stop the invasive species. Because frankly, if everybody had an invasive species on their property and it was proliferated, you'd have to find everybody in the town because they all have it. That's why that ordinance was written that way. We went through a long analysis about 10 or so years ago, I don't know.
No, the bamboo was the big.
That was the main thing. We had
Right,
a problem with it in Strathmere. We had a problem with it in certain areas of the mainland as well.
the problem is this tree was introduced to the United States in the late 1700s. And it's been here for a while, and it's got established, and it literally has, not the pun here, but it has roots.
They grow underground into
yeah.
my house.
But I guess if you can't tell it originated on your neighbor's property, if it spread throughout the whole town, and he just happened to have it, and his is coming onto yours, if that's the case, you may only have a civil remedy. It's not an ordinance that the township can enforce.
We are
Well-
enforcing it. The against that property.
Excuse me?
We are enforcing
Yeah,
against
I mean,
that
if,
property.
Oh, you
so,
have
so
it?
it's
Put
been,
that out?
And we have a plan.
so you have a determination that it's likely that it's coming from that particular property, and there's adjoining lots that obviously had no, because I know the recent one that we talked about with the bamboo it was hard to determine because everyone had bamboo.
You couldn't figure out where it started.
Exactly. But
You
this
figure
one
out
is
where it
more
starts and
distinct.
where-
Yeah, it's pretty obvious, because it's also now grown under Route 9.
He has a removal plan in place that we're working through the process, and
Did you hear
So it
that?
sounds like
Yes,
you guys-
I know, and also too, I'm looking out for others, because
Okay.
I'm very passionate about this, so I brought some information in. I can't write an article in the Gazette, because if
Well,
he
it
sees
may be
it,
something we should put on the website too, to make sure. So we can do that.
yes, just something to let, I mean, everybody that's my friend knows, because they hear me talk about it.
Or you can root for the spotted lanternfly.
Well, and here, I've watched it also, it's now crossed over Route 9, so it's next to the Shore Acres. And my neighbors, my friendly neighbors behind me, Ellen and the Schusters, once this gets on their farm, it's gonna be a problem. It's not really a big problem for my yard, evidently. And then when it gets to the homeowners at Shore Acres there, when these things are able to grow under my house, then it'll be even a bigger problem, because they won't stop. That's the fact. So they've gone from the corner, they've jumped across, they're all over there now. I don't know how they got to the Acme corner, but they're still new. They can be taken down now. And now they're creeping over towards Shore Acres.
Well, I live south of the Acme, and I've had them in my yard, and they are a nuisance. They're very brittle. You get a little windstorm, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
I actually cleared some more farmland, and I pushed them all in a pile and burned them. I got rid of them. But
The only reason they're not in my yard, because I pull them every single day. But they're not gonna go away until he takes all of his down and treats them properly. And I don't know what's really going, and as you walk by, there's thousands of new ones all over. I pull them. I sometimes go over at night, and I pull them out from his yard because they'll end up on mine.
and they grow so fast, just like your bamboo. Your pesticides or herbicides don't work on it, like Roundup, it just outgrows the Roundup. It grows faster than the chemical can react.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I did have somebody from Rutgers come out because my tree guy wasn't enough, so I got somebody with a PhD. So I've spent many hours just trying to protect my property and everybody else's for that matter, because it's bad. So do you need these papers? Anybody want them, or?
Do you need that information to put on the
You
website?
have-
Or do you have it?
I think I have it. 'cause
This is what, I sent to Shelley. So,
Okay.
all right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to address the Township Committee? Just dropping my glasses.
I'm Ron O'Hara from 6 Sheila Avenue in Seaville. I just want to thank everybody for helping me out doing what you're doing in a very trying time for me. So I just want to say thank you.
Well, we wish you the best of luck and hope that you can get things organized and, work out a lot of the issues, and good luck with the rebuild of your home.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
Is there any way to put that article in the paper? I read that Gazette every week, but I don't go on the website, I don't know how many people go on.
Well, let's see, I don't see any of the local newspaper reporters here. So, all right, I'll tell you what, are you willing to let us, you have it, I know, but why don't you give us that as well? And we'll see if we can send it to one of the newspapers for their, okay.
This is just one of the, there's a multitude, there's Facebook groups. Too much contact with my phone.
I have it.
You hold on to it, Barbara, you and I will talk, what we'll do with it.
I have my own copy board.
Anyone else?
Education is the key to that kind of stuff.
Does anyone else like to address the Township Committee? I want to thank you, Lieutenant, for coming this evening. We appreciate that. We appreciate all that the state troopers do for Upper Township. I think you guys do an outstanding job, and it's very appreciative. So.
We may need to have one more item for open session before you close it to the public. Or actually, you can close it to the public and then I can...
Okay. If there's no other public comment, I'm going to close the public portion of the meeting and entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Not yet.
No,
That's what
not
I
yet.
want. I have one item before we go into
Okay.
executive
All right,
session.
I'm closing the public comment. And what's the other
All
item?
right, the other item is, one of our items on closed session is personnel, and one of those items dealt with, I believe, it's Brian Bushon, and I believe Mr. Bushon is here, and he wanted his matter to be heard in public. Could you confirm that, Mr. Bushon?
Yes, correct.
Could you come up to the microphone, please, so it could be recorded?
Yes, that's correct.
And you're Brian Bushon, right?
Yes, I'm Brian Bushon.
And you understand that the confidential personnel issues will be discussed in public and...
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. At this point, I would like to get our Labor Council on the line. So would you bring over...
Excuse me, Dan, is Mr. Bashan, are you represented by anybody?
Please come up to the microphone. Please come up to the microphone and speak. We're going to need to get Labor Council on the line.
My union rep will be here in about 5 minutes.
All right, so I don't think that we should proceed without his representation.
No, he has the right. We can't go into closed session and discuss it if he asks for it to be an open session.
I understand that. Then let's take a 10-minute break because he said that it...
Yes, he's 5 minutes out.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are you sure you want to do this in public?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Right,
I'm
so
fine.
the public comment portion of the meeting is over. You're all welcome to stay for this additional issue that is going to be addressed in open session. But Mr. Rushan's waiting for his union representative to join him. So I would suggest that we take a 5-minute break and hope that his representative will be here by then. So.
Okay. And move to close the meeting, a motion to close the meeting for 5 minutes and open it up after that.
Do we have to do that, or we can just take a break? I think we just take a break.
Should make a motion.
Motion. Okay, I'll make a motion.
Motion to close.
All in favor?
I'll second it. All those in favor of a 5-minute break?
Aye. Good. Everybody's happy.